Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today, we're talking Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. So many of you requested this, and I'm so excited to deep dive into it, to go over all the parts of what led up to the case, to discuss the case itself. I want to talk about the recordings. I want to talk about it all, and I can't wait to do so. Now, if you've kept up with the channel, first of all, if you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you have stuck with me and you know my voice is still wrecked, I'm not sick, I have allergies, my voice is always the first thing to go. It's so annoying, especially when you recap shows on the internet for a living. But here with me is my favorite sidekick, my husband Jay, to help me break down all this madness.
Hey, this is Jay, also from YouTube, known as Dr. Bad Vibes. Thanks for having me on this recap of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Who pooped the bed? Oh no, this is real life, but it's just as fun. I'm super into this and I'm ready to help.
So as we jump into this, there's just a few things I want to mention. First of all, again, a huge thank you to everybody who requested this video. If you want to keep going with this, you know I'm totally down. Jay's totally down. We'll get more into it. And I kind of hope you do because I'm really into this case. I find it fascinating. So thank you all to requesting that. I want to give a special shout out and a big thank you to my friend Leah, who provided me with so much helpful information. I put together a big timeline, which you'll see. I put a lot of work into it, and Leah, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much for that. This case, let me back up. Our channel is interesting because we love to joke around and be silly and be sarcastic. That's kind of our MO. And it works with so many things. We get into some dark subject matter in this case, so just know that we joke around, but we also understand this is some very serious allegations and subjects, and I do want to put out there that if anybody's bothered by certain things, this might not be the video for you, because they go into some dark stuff in this trial.
Yeah, there's a lot of serious stuff being discussed in this trial and previous trials and other allegations. So, yeah, I'll myself especially, I'll keep the dad jokes to a minimum. We don't want to joke about things that aren't, that don't need to be joked about. But in a court of law, we are discussing about somebody pooping in somebody's bed. I mean, there's a reason why the world is watching this case. I mean, it is insane, like how far-reaching this is when you think about it. I mean, I shouldn't know about this. This isn't the stuff I read about or listen to. But, I mean, obviously it's, in the Hollywood movie industry, all the entertainment news. But it's even in, it involves Kevin Nash. It's in pro wrestling news, the former WWF, WCW wrestler. It involves Jason Momoa, Aquaman. It's in my comic book news. It involves Elon Musk. It's in all my technology news. And, I mean, it goes on and on. So, I mean, even our 60-some-year-old parents are aware of this. My brother's aware of this, who knows even less about this than I do. So, I mean, I understand the interest. I mean, I'm interested too. I mean, it's a train wreck, and we all want to look.
And finally, YouTube is very weird. There's certain words that if you say them, you kind of get pigeonholed. I don't know. It's harder to... They don't really want to advertise your video if it thinks it's about certain subject matters. So when we get into the punchy, hit, red finger paint of it all, we're going to have to get creative in how we talk about it. You're going to notice we dance around certain things. It's not because we're PC, because we're absolutely not. It's just that YouTube, if you talk about graphic things, then it's just a no-no. So you're going to notice we kind of dance around certain things. Again, it's not that we're jokey. Well, sometimes we are, but it's that YouTube's weird as shit. So I thought this would be good I wanted to make this good for everybody. What I mean is, I had a very vague knowledge of this case when I first started looking into it. I think Jay was probably about the same as me, where we didn't know a ton about it, but it was fascinating. So we're going to talk about our initial thoughts, and then we're going to go, I made if I do say so myself, a really helpful timeline that should break down important dates, key things that happened, kind of explain it all a little bit better, because I feel like there's just so much information out there. I was having trouble piecing it together. And again, thank you, Leah, for all your help researching this. And so I made a timeline, you'll see it, that will help break down all the important events that led up to the case. Again, there's so much to it. I'm going to leave stuff out. It's how it works. So we'll make follow-up videos where we go deeper into different parts of this. But first, I thought, Jay, tell me your initial thoughts, what you know about the case, what your thoughts are. Let's get into this.
Well, my initial reaction, I guess, is based on the current trials. I don't really keep up with celebrity stuff. I really know very little about either of them, especially Amber Heard. I mean, literally, the only thing I know about her is that she was opposite of Jason Momoa in the on-screen relationship with the least amount of chemistry I've seen in my life. I mean, if you've seen Aquaman, it's painfully cringy to watch. And I mean, I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. So for me to notice that, it's pretty bad. And then Johnny Depp, I mean, he's been around a while. I know him. Fun fact, his first role was in the one of the best horror movies of all time, the first Nightmare on Elm Street. I believe he was the boyfriend. I think Nancy's boyfriend or maybe her friend's boyfriend. I forget off the top of my head. He even made, and also he made a cameo in Nightmare on Elm Street 6, one of the best comedies of all time, as himself. And, then, Edward Scissorhands, all that. So, I mean, he's been in a lot of movies. He's beloved by many. So I understand the interest. And as strange things started leaking out about even the first trial, I guess I did hear a little bit about it, but I guess it's just the strangeness of it all. That's what attracted me to it, and I assume most other people.
So my voice is going again, so I'm going to keep this short. But yeah, same here. I had an interest in it because I have a soft spot. I love celebrity gossip. I find it fascinating. I understand that people love him. I think he's fun. I mean, I really didn't have a strong opinion either way. And kind of the same with her. I remember her Magic Mike too, and I remember thinking, like, there's not much there, like she didn't really add anything to the scenes for me, so I really didn't really give her too much thought, but so much has come out since. It's fascinating, and in the spirit of total honesty, I'll tell you what I really think, which is the first thing that caught my attention. Honestly, I didn't keep up with any of it, so I saw the video of him, and we'll get into that, the video of him storming around the kitchen, and my first thought was, oh my gosh, it's so scary. Like, it seemed really, I just thought, oh my God, this is a scary video. I got these scary vibes off of him. And so I probably jumped to thinking, oh, he's got serious anger / substance issues, lots going on there. So that was my initial thought, was, oh God, But then so much has come out that I'll be honest, while I'm not firmly in either camp, I think I side more with him, like from what I could tell. Again, nobody's innocent in this. I think they both have severe problems going on. And we'll get into that, but it's just fascinating to me. And I think that's one of the things that's riveting too, is that I thought I had my mind made up at first, like, oh, he seems like an awful person, and then it's like, oh shit, she's truly terrible. Like, finding out all these things about her, she really seems like a terrible person. So without further ado, let's get into the timeline. Again, I don't think either of these people are saints. I don't celebrity worship like some people do. I think they both seem like narcissists to me, but the more I learn about her, the more I think, oh my God, she's kind of evil. I just want to take a minute and show you my dream microphone. This is what I'm saving toward. It is a professional microphone. It's got amazing reviews. A lot of the top broadcasters, podcasters, YouTubers use this one, and I'm very excited about it. I really want to save toward it. If you're interested in pitching in toward it, I'm collecting to upgrade my microphone equipment. I want to buy a soundboard. I want to buy a mic stand, all the stuff you need with it. I'm not even collecting for all that. That's on me. You know what I mean? I just really want to save toward this microphone. If you're interested in giving toward it, and thank you to everybody that has, here's how you can do it. It's ko-fi.com/Real Housewives Recaps. I mean, if you just want to do like $3 toward a cup of coffee, that's what they say it's for. But I'm putting it all back into the show, into the microphone. It really does help me out. Thank you to everybody who has helped me on my way of getting this dream microphone. I'm very excited about it. I can't wait to hit my goal, get this mic, and upgrade my show.
So Jen's made a timeline. So let's take a look back over the years and see how this has played out. So we start out in 2009. This is when the movie The Rum Diary came out. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard met on this movie. It's a novel that was written by Hunter S. Thompson, who Johnny Depp is real life friends with, I believe because of his work with Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He befriended Hunter S. Thompson. He played him in that movie, and he idolizes him as well. This one flew under the radar for me. I had no idea this even existed. So I love Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, so I'm curious to hear people's opinions on this. It doesn't have very good IMDb ratings, but hey, none of the movies I like have high ratings, so I might give it a shot.
So in 2012, the pair started dating, Amber Heard, Johnny Depp. So keep in mind that he had been with Vanessa Paradis, his longtime partner. They had been together for 14 years. They had 2 children together, Lily Rose and John Christopher. Heard had been with her partner, Tasia Von Ree, a photographer. They believed to have started they were dating around 2008 to 2012. Now, what's interesting there is around 2009, Heard was arrested for physically assaulting Van Ree at the Seattle International Airport in Washington. Now, it is worth noting that the charges were dropped on that, but it is interesting that they had an incident.
So jumping ahead to 2014, People magazine reported that Amber Heard and Johnny Depp were likely to be engaged after a picture emerged of her wearing a huge ornate engagement ring. And also Johnny Depp, I believe it was on Daily Mail, it was noticed, I guess he'd been involved in a wedding planning thing, and I guess he'd been wearing, quote, a chick's ring on his finger, and he was quoted as saying, "It's probably a dead giveaway, isn't it? Not very subtle."
2015 rolls around and 2 pretty big things happen. Depp and Heard get married, which we'll talk about, but also stuff went down in Australia. So 2015, the pair actually tied the knot in a private ceremony in their home in LA. But then after that, they ended up flying to his private island in the Bahamas to have their ceremony, which is pictured here. Just a few interesting things to note about this is they did not have a prenup when they got married. That'll come into play. We'll talk about the fight/bottle heard around the world that happened after all this, but at the time that they got married, they did not have a prenup. Also, his daughter, Lily Rose, did not attend this because she and Amber Heard, well, they just never got along. Also, things have come out about what a wild time they had at the wedding, aka substances were heavily involved with the wedding, and they kind of go back and forth on whose idea that was. He's pointing to her, saying that she had some substances ready to go for the wedding party.
So later in 2015, Australia is all like, "Who let the dogs in? Oh, oh, oh." Because she let her dogs in without declaring them. If you've ever traveled internationally, and sometimes even domestically, even vegetables are problematic. So why would you think, just bringing a dog in is no big deal? It was a big deal, and it was so crazy that it involved Australia's prime minister, who basically just said, "Hey, just apologize," and she kind of refused to, and he's all, "What now?" "Oh, that's a wife." No, he was not happy, and they did anything but put shrimps on the barbie. They actually fined her, and it sounds like because of the later trial in the Sun, it sort of reopened this later last year. I don't know where it stands right now, but I think she may be actively being investigated for perjury due to this.
Yeah, I didn't know much about it at the time, but I just remember watching this apology video and thinking, well, that's the weirdest non-apology I've ever seen. And she just comes off as such a, for lack of a better word, smug bitch through the whole thing. I just couldn't even believe it. Well, turns out that smug bitch, she ended up in this feud with Australian agricultural minister Barnaby Joyce. And it sounds like he was actually being really cool about it, meaning you make this apology video, you explain why it's a big deal what you did. They didn't even get charged for the other counts. She actually faced jail time of, I believe it was up to 10 years. All they had to do was make this video, and again, she was just such a smug bitch through it. And then turns out she ended up getting another dog afterwards and naming it after this agricultural minister. So to me, I just think, what a bitch. Like, what? It's just, again, psychological games. Like, I'm above the law, I do what I want, and I'm going to name my new dog after you.
Now in 2016, on May 23rd specifically, Amber Heard filed for divorce from Johnny Depp and also obtained a temporary restraining order against him. And this is the first time we start hearing allegations of physical altercations, who Depp denies, and at the time he basically said that she was doing this to secure a more beneficial financial settlement early on. And it goes back and forth, and this is what sets the stage for the divorce proceedings.
There are so many details that have come out since that happened around this time and leading up to the divorce. There's a specific instance that blows my mind. There's so many, but there's specific instances that include bottles being chucked and severed parts. And again, remember YouTube, I have to dance around it. Who pooped the bed, all that stuff. I'm very aware of it. And just know this is a timeline of events. We'll break down those incidents further as we get into it, because those didn't come out until after the allegations happened when they filed for divorce.
Later in 2016, a $7 million settlement was reached out of court. Heard testified under oath at a deposition, but a settlement was eventually reached after she withdrew her request for a domestic restraining order. She also rescinded her spousal support request of $50,000 a month. And then on top of that, they even released a joint statement saying, quote, "Our relationship was intensely passionate and at times volatile, but always bound by love. Neither party has made false accusations for financial gain." And it even added, quote, "There was never any intent of physical or emotional harm." And from this, Heard received $7 million from the divorce, but it was supposed to be donated to charity, which might sound familiar now because that's coming back up. That's under contention now.
Yeah, so that was interesting to me as well. In 2021, Johnny Depp was actually granted permission to determine if Amber Heard actually made the donations. So that's still a point of contention between them.
Finally, in 2017, the divorce was finalized. A year after Heard filed, Heard kept the dogs that were at the center of the 2015 scandal, and Johnny Depp basically got to keep all of his stuff, all of his residences, private island. Yeah, everybody's got one of those laying around, right? And, all of his cars and motorcycles. Sounds like he's got some cool stuff, so, win for him, I guess. Additionally, it was reported that there is a non-disparagement clause in that settlement that prevents either party from saying anything negative about the relationship or the breakup. So, I guess that's the end of that. Let's tie a bow around it. We're done.
Not quite yet. Yeah, these two didn't exactly go quietly and live their own lives. Let's get into what happens next, because it's big.
Just kidding. Welcome to 2018, where lots of things happen. So the biggest of which was Amber Heard wrote an op-ed for the Washington Post talking about her unfortunate life experiences and trauma. This really is the catalyst to everything going on now, because from this, it pretty much all but named Johnny Depp as an instigator in physicality. I'm dancing around this because of YouTube. And then basically this led to The Sun referring to Johnny Depp as a white tank top.
He's playing verbal Mad Libs here because he kind of has to, but white tank top it's referred to by another name that we all know that's not a nice name, and that's the name that they called Johnny Depp in the article.
So this sets the stage for Johnny Depp's lawsuit against The Sun UK. Not The Sun News based out of Myrtle Beach. That's like the Bat Boy Bigfoot Stole My UFO newspaper. Now, this is the Sun UK who printed that statement of calling Johnny Depp a name. This started his libel lawsuit. I guess what little legal knowledge I have, if it's written, it's libel. If it's spoken, it's defamation. That's really the only technical difference I'm aware of. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he challenged the Sun. Much like Icarus, he learned that you cannot fly too close to the sun because he got burned. Coincidentally, it was during lockdown, so there wasn't much press present. I think it was like one lone guy like live tweeting everything, and everybody was stuck at home. So this really blew up in the news.
And then in 2019, Depp ends up suing Heard for $50 million, and it's for defamation, and it's over that Washington Post article Jay mentioned. In the suit, he says that Heard is basically, she's not the victim here, she's the perpetrator. And he denies ever doing, I can't say the word, but ever physical stuff. Instead, the suit says that Heard's allegations were part of an elaborate hoax to generate positive publicity for her. Depp's lawyer says the op-ed depended on the central premise that Miss Heard was the victim in the relationship and that Mr. Depp had perpetrated the bad stuff against her. Well, in a court filing so she ended up filing papers to try to dismiss this lawsuit. She detailed multiple instances of the allegations, and she said that they occurred during her marriage and that she often referred to him as the monster. So, of course, this is the case that they're arguing now. It ended up going from $50 million to $100 million because she is countersuing, and we'll get into that when we get to the case itself.
In 2020, phone recordings were released in which Heard admitted to getting physical with Depp. These were obtained by the Daily Mail somehow, and Heard is heard saying things such as, "I'm sorry that I didn't get you across the face in a proper slap," and other crazy things. So this could be a whole video on its own. If you want us to go through this and react to it, just let us know in the comments. Pretty serious stuff. So later in 2020, on July 7th, we've spoiled some of this already, but this is when the 3-week libel trial against the Sun and the editor began. So Johnny Depp lost this case, but lots of information came out, including statements from his former relationships, Winona Ryder and Vanessa. Both came out in Johnny's defense, his defense more or less, saying that he never displayed anything like violence or anything that was accused. And along with that, this is kind of when the whole clown show began, and everybody started paying more attention. We were all locked inside for a while, so this was probably a lot of people's source of entertainment to a degree. And this is also when we learned about the bed situation. So quickly, I guess the interest shifted from what Amber heard to what Johnny smelled.
Okay, let's spend about 14 hours and discuss Amber Turd. Yes, you heard me right. Let's talk about who pooped the bed. And the reason for the graphic is because Jay and I, of course, are huge Always Sunny fans. This was an actual episode title from one of our all-time favorite episodes. Check it out on Patreon. So this whole thing... You guys, I just can't even get through this. My voice is like barely here, but who pooped the bed? Okay, so here's what happens. So I know we're jumping around on the timeline, but it came out during this part of the trial about this bed poop, and now it's fun because, well, I don't know if fun's the word. It's coming up again because right now in the Fairfax trial, they're discussing it. But here's what happened. So Johnny Depp has said that there was human fecal matter on his side of the bed following an argument with Amber Turd. Yes, I called her that again. So he basically on the stand says that he had gotten into an argument with Heard, and it was during her birthday party, and he finally said, "Listen, I want out of this marriage." He later went back to retrieve his belongings at their shared residence, and Heard at that time was at Coachella, and his security guard said, no, it's not a good time to go in there. And Depp was like, why? What's up? He was shown a picture of what the quote-unquote problem was. And it was a turd. I know, it's disgusting, but it was a turd. And it was, so basically it went back and forth. She's denied this. And he swears that it was human fecal matter. They had tiny dogs at the time. He says it doesn't make sense because she tried to blame the dogs, and he says, no, it doesn't make sense. It's obviously a human one. It's on his side of the bed. This was done, according to him, it was done on purpose and maliciously by Amber Heard.
So still in 2020, on November 6th, this is 4 days after the final ruling on the libel case in the UK, it turns out Johnny Depp announced that he had been asked to resign from his role as Grindelwald in Fantastic Beasts 3. And I'm not totally sure on the timeline, but he has also said that Disney has refused to cast him in anything else. It does sound like 2 more Pirates of the Caribbean movies were planned. So Jack Sparrow's done. And isn't it amazing how much mileage they got out of a theme park boat ride from the 60s? They were going to make more of those movies, but I mean, I guess not now. So still in 2020, shortly after that, and not surprising because, I mean, why file the lawsuit if you didn't think you were right? Johnny Depp and his team were very outspoken and dissatisfied with the ruling. They filed an appeal, I believe 2 appeals, and they were all shot down. So that sounds like the end of the cases in London, unless something were to reopen them.
Yeah, unfortunately, he went through this a couple of times. He would try to appeal to the High Court of London. He was denied. Unfortunately, he ended up having to pay her attorney's fees as well. That was £630,000, which translates to $841,000. So I know this can get confusing. So I just want to reiterate, this is not, they've already been divorced. That part's finalized. You know, there's some contention whether or not she donated the money she was supposed to donate. That aside, this is just about the libel suit that was going on in London. And it's just wild that they were married for like 14 months, I believe it was. And they're still, even at this point, we haven't even gotten up to current day. This is a battle going on over a newspaper in London, all stemming from the op-ed piece she wrote for the Washington Post.
So now, in the present year of 2022, this brings us to the defamation lawsuit initially filed by Johnny Depp. And this is being held in Fairfax County, Virginia, due to the Washington Post being headquartered there, I believe, which is also owned by Jeff Bezos. So, hey guys, don't mess with my paper. I gotta go to space. Ha! So anyway, in retaliation to that, Amber Heard countersued for $100 million and motioned to move it to California, but I guess due to the Washington Post being headquartered there, I guess they decided to keep it there. And this is where a lot of the interesting tidbits are continuing to come out, such as affairs with Elon Musk. I mean, how does this guy have time to do all this stuff? James Franco, I mean, there's, as I mentioned before, things involving Kevin Nash, the pro wrestler, on the set of Magic Mike 2. So, I mean, this is where we're at right now. This is still developing. This is primarily why we wanted to make this video, just to summarize everything to get to this current point. And further videos will probably focus on current events, but a lot of these past events are very convoluted and complicated. So we may go back to some of the more interesting things, but right now we just want to focus on what's going on now and what's going to happen from this trial.
Exactly. It's just so riveting. I want to go into the bottle of it all. I want to go into the recordings that we've heard. I want to go into all of it. I want to talk about Eve Barlow getting banned from the trial. So much interesting stuff going on, but this is a good place to start with the timeline of events, the outline of what happened, and what got us here now. So Thank you so much, everybody, for your kind words, for understanding my crazy voice, for support, for the recommendation that we cover this. It's so fascinating to me. A big thank you to Jay for being here and for your time and looking at all this material and footage that I know you normally wouldn't care about.
No problem there. You know, I'm always down to hear a story about poop, Elon Musk, and pro wrestlers, and whatever other insanity we come across. But yeah, this has been Jay. You can find me on Dr. Bad Vibes on YouTube. And this is fun. Hopefully I'll be back and we'll be talking more about this.
One more shout out to Leah. Leah, I couldn't have done this without you. You really helped supply a lot of the facts for this. I really appreciate it. Again, thank you to everybody for watching and for the support. I appreciate it. If you want to further support the show, I am losing my voice, so I'm going to wrap this up. If you want to further support the show, please consider donating toward the new microphones. It's something very important to me. I think it'll elevate the whole show and let me record a little more clearly even when I have a more normal voice. So check that out if you're interested. ko-fi.com/Real Housewives Recaps. Any little bit helps toward the microphones. Check out Patreon. We got a lot of stuff going on over there. I'm recapping Sex and the City, Always Sunny, all that stuff over there. And again, thank you all so much for all the love and support. I hope you have a fabulous day. Hopefully your day is going better than these two. Sheesh. I'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.